podcast there's some questions, inclusive questions for you. So thank you, Jenny, and thank you, Sarah.
I'm going to stand up because I want to take you back to my life before my daughter's death. So I was brought up, working class family. I've got 4 sisters, and my family always drummed it into me that education is where it's at, get yourself a good job. So that's what I did. I was very work driven. I was a sales director in a big publishing house. I earned quite very good commission. I went on lovely holidays. I had a Range Rover. I had everything that money could buy. I had 3 children, and my 3 kids lived a very luxurious life. But I wasn't always present because as a sales director, I was always going away for weeks at a time. And my children had childminders, after school care. So part of the guilt that I carry is with me all the time. So in 2012, May the 5th, my whole life changed. My daughter at the age of 22 decided to exit. I didn't know that she was struggling. I didn't see that she wasn't coping with life. As a child, she was a very emotional child. She cried a lot. She felt things a lot deeper than most kids would do. But I suspect that lots of people who have mental health challenges are quite sensitive people. And she was one of those. And so she'd go to work, and at work she was the it person. She was very vivacious, very lively, had a big group of friends. No one knew that she was hiding this mental health issue. We knew she had mood swings. We knew something wasn't quite right, but I didn't know enough. I did not know enough of how to help her. I just assumed that that's how she was. She was always like that. I've always known her to be happy one minute, sad the next. And then she'd come out of it and said, I'm fine now. And it was like, that's Lucy, you know? So we always assumed that's how she was. But in 2012, she split up with her boyfriend. And I think that was the time she said, I can't do this anymore. I've had enough. She planned it. She planned it. She planned everything. From the moment she woke up, we were all due to go to my other daughter who was at uni. And she said, I'm not coming. I need time for myself. Just give me time. And normally when she said, give me time, we give her time. And then when we come back, she'll be fine. But on this day, we left her, and then we just got a call saying, are all your girls with you? And it was like, well, why? Because they found someone in the back of the woods near our house. She was mixed race, and we was like, oh my God, let's just get home. So we drove from Middlesex all the way back. And honestly, if I'm being truthfully, it was very surreal. It was like, how did I not see? It's not her. I couldn't even compute that she would do that to herself, do that to us. How? So when we got back, it was almost like a crime scene. There was ambulance, there was helicopters, there was, you know, it was like, what's going on here? I just don't understand. But she left us a note, and in her note, it kind of just said, I've just had enough, I just want peace. You know, it's nothing that you've done, it's me. I just don't want to do this anymore. And we all die, we all go to heaven, and I'll see you there. So, what does that mean for her? I don't know, but for us, my heart shattered. And my new life began. But 2 weeks prior before Lucy took her life, we kind of said to her, babe, go to the doctors. Just see if we can sort something out. So she took herself to the doctors, and the doctors said, no, there's nothing wrong with you. Change your contraceptive pill. It's hormonal. Done. So she came back with her prescription and said, there's nothing wrong with me, Mum. But we knew there was something wrong. But I just didn't know what to do to help her. So when she passed, we did a memorial for her and we raised £15,000. We took that money to the doctor's surgery and said, look, there's £15,000. Can we have a counsellor? Can we have a psychiatric nurse at this surgery? And they said, we've already got one. We've already got one. I was so angry that they let her slip through the net. So I kind of like with Jeff, like with Sarah, like with all of you in the room that want to know more, changed my life. I didn't want another child, another person to slip through the net. So I again have a life of purpose. The Lucy Rayner Foundation was born and we just trailblaze. We work all hours to see if we can help anybody who is struggling, especially young adults who no longer are under the child services. They slip through the net. There's a long waiting list. So we have services that will pick them up straight away. Within 48 hours, we'll get them into a counsellor, we'll get them to whoever needs to see them and hold them until they get long-term care. So we act as a bridge. For me, that is the most important thing that my charity can do. But my life has changed. So I call this now my new life. What was before has gone. What I do now is really important. But my work didn't understand. Because I was grieving, because I was going through the grieving process, I'd lost my daughter and it was a shock to my system. As a sales director, they expected me to come back to work. My sales team was struggling without my input, without the motivation that I was bringing, and I was damn good at my job, to be fair. And they said, you've got to come back. So we had the conversation, but I knew I wasn't ready. I knew I wasn't ready. And they told me you had to come back. And I remember coming up to the door, and it had like an interlock thing that you have to pull and come in. You punch in a number. And I remember just standing at the door, punching in the number, thinking, I can't do this. I can't be here. And just bursting into tears. And then I just rang the manager and said, I can't do this, I can't do this, I've got to go home. And he said, well, go home today, but come back tomorrow. So I went home and told my husband, I've got to do this again tomorrow. So I did it the next day, got in, but I managed to actually get into the doorway and ran to the toilet, and same thing happened. Rang, no, go home, come back tomorrow. So I did this again. And on the fourth day, I managed to get myself into the office, and I sat at my desk and I just cried. I just cried at my desk. But the thing is, the MD didn't understand. He didn't know how to react to me, to my situation. They didn't have a mental health strategy in place. So all he knew was that I needed to perform. And I made it my purpose to perform. So I developed this strategy where I would come into work, I'd pull myself together, come into work and do my job. I led the sales team, they hit every target, and as soon as I left to go home, I was in pieces. And I did this solidly for 3 months. I handed my resignation on my first month and he was like, nope, not accepting it. You have to work 3 months and find your own replacement. But in him doing that made me steel. I knew I had to get through that period of time, and that's what I did. So as soon as I left, the charity was the thing that drove me. So that's really my story. But what I know now, I should have told them how I felt. I should have shown them, this is how you need to treat me now, for me to give you the best. But actually they lost out because they didn't get the best of me like Dan. You know, they didn't.